Sean, thanks a lot. Alongside of Seth Greenberg, Jakar Sampson, leading Big East freshman, probably freshman of the year. A big reason that Steve Lavin is going to have a strong program at St. John's as they face Marquette. Marquette will now have a chance to finish tied with Georgetown for a share of the Big East championship. But let's talk about what we just saw. First of all, the performance of the Hoyas defensively.
Offensively and defensively, to me, it was a clinic. Offensively, they shared the basketball, and the emergence of Markelle Starks and Devontae Smith-Rivera, I really think speaks volumes for the future of Georgetown basketball when it comes to the NCAA tournament. And then defensively, you talk about being active and alert, contesting shots. Georgetown's a team, they had 14 assists. You know how many assists the Syracuse had? 3. Absolutely mind-boggling, their ability to defend, keep things in front. Brandon Trish and James Sutherland, if they can't score, Syracuse can't win. And between them, they had 3 points. Georgetown did a great job of identifying the shooters, doing a nice job of getting back in transition, taking Syracuse out of transition, and then taking care of the basketball. If you can make Syracuse a half-court basketball team, they struggle. And today, Georgetown dominating on both sides of the ball.
Let's talk about what we're seeing right now, which is a clear celebration in Washington, D.C., as Georgetown has won at least a share of the Big East championship and secured the #1 seed in the Big East tournament. But you can see, and you heard it from Coach Thompson, just how important this rivalry was with Syracuse, and what a shame it is that it is now over, that football has dominated and really taken this rivalry away.
It really is a shame, because you think about the great players, you think about the great coaches, you think about the great games. To me, leagues are defined by rivalries. And the rivalry, when I think of the Big East, I think of Georgetown, I think of Syracuse, I think of Coach Thompson, I think of Jim Boeheim, I think of Alonzo Mourning, I think of Derek Coleman, Pearl Washington, Allen Iverson. You know what? We're not going to have that. We might have other rivalries, but not one that speaks the volumes of this rivalry.
When you look at the Georgetown Hoyas and how they've played this part of the season, they won 11 straight before losing to Villanova this week, and now have started another streak as they're going to get the Big East Championship trophy. Just how far can this team go?
Right now, I think they can get it to at least an Elite Eight, maybe even the Final Four. And really, everyone talks about Otto Porter, but it's the complementary guys that needed to step up. Devontae Smith-Rivera, his ability to make shots and stretch the defense. Markelle Starks, his ability to orchestrate the offense, be a solid on-ball defender, share the basketball, and make good decisions. And then Nate Lubick. Nate Lubick, to me, is like the missing piece, the guy that you forget about. He's a 50-50 ball guy. He's a ball mover. You don't have to run a play for him, and he makes tough, hard-nosed plays that this team needs. John Thompson, just a terrific job with his basketball team.
When you consider that they lost their 3 leading scorers from a year ago, to come back and actually win the Big East is incredible. And you consider the fact that Otto Porter Jr. only had 10 points today, and they rolled over Syracuse. That's a huge victory as the Big East tournament is coming up. Marquette and St. John's follows us, of course. Marquette will try and claim a share of the Big East championship. Kentucky against Florida. And Seth, you say win this game, and Kentucky has to be in the NCAA tournament.
Without it, if Kentucky wins this basketball, the one thing that's missing from their resume is another top 25 win. You talk about their top 50 wins, all right, they're against an Ole Miss and a Maryland. They needed a marquee win. They don't have a bad loss.
All right, Marquette and St. John's. One of the most impressive things about Marquette for Buzz Williams is that his team can get points from anywhere. The bench scores the starters as well.
Yeah, to me, a different guy, a different night, whether it's Wilson, whether it's Gardner, whether it's Junior Cadogan. I know you love Junior Cadogan.
Of course. You have to love the Canadians, all right? Marquette and St. John's is coming up. We will see you at halftime.
Welcome to ESPN's coverage of Saturday Showcase, presented by 5 Hour Energy. Today, the 15th ranked Marquette Golden Eagles come to Madison Square Garden to face the St. John's Red Storm in the final regular season game in Big East Conference action. As we look at the standings, Marquette at 13-4 has already clinched a double bye in the Big East Championship next week. With a win today, claim at least a share of the Big East regular season title. with the Hoyas of Georgetown. St. John's at 8-9 is looking to pull even heading into next week's tournament. Good afternoon, everybody. Mike Patrick, Glenn Elmore. It's great to have you with us. Hats off to Marquette. They were picked 7th in the Big East Conference in the preseason poll. Here we are on the last day of the regular season, and they're right at the top.
Yeah, they are one of those teams that you really underestimated. And for them, it's all about effort. You know, there are more talented teams in the Big East. I will say that. But effort is the key. Talent without effort is an empty uniform. These guys play hard.
For St. John's, it's been very frustrating. The season has deteriorated both on the court and off the court.
Well, it's been tough for Steve Lavin. The first year, he really made St. John's relevant in college basketball again. But the last 2 years, Lavin's illness, player defections, down suspension. But believe this, if you're looking at St. John's, they're on the verge of their second consecutive postseason in 3 years. So all is not lost.
Take a look at the lineups. Marquette at 22-7. Jamil Wilson in double figures, 8 of his last 9. He's shooting a lot better.
Yeah, he's averaging 15 points a game in the last 2 and shooting 50% from the field.
St. John's 16-13. Jakar Sampson 17 a game in his last 4.
Well, he's a 7-time Big East Freshman of the Week, averaging 17 and 8 the last 4. He's got to find a way to fill the absence of D'Angelo Harrison as well as Dominic
Pointer suspended for a single game because of a fight against Notre Dame, but Harrison suspended for the rest of the season for what amounts to conduct detrimental to the ball club. And they are optimistic after talking with Harrison several times that he will be coming back for his junior season. And they say they are very happy to entertain that idea of having him back. He's a very talented player.
He's definitely one of those guys they need. And when you look at Marquette, you don't think of one individual, you think of a team. I mean, Buzz Williams will put 9 players out there in a rotation, averaging 13 or more minutes. And everybody contributes.
And he's just, to echo your point in the open, he's not just putting empty uniforms out there either.
No, it's all about effort and very reflective of Buzz Williams as a coach. You can't outwork that man. And again, one of the leading candidates for Coach of the Year, both he and John Thompson III. I hope they can split that. As we saw prior to this game, Georgetown clinched the regular season title by virtue of a tiebreaker with Marquette and Louisville.
Shot clock not running for the first 9 seconds of the ball game.
Okay. Remnants of the snowstorm we had yesterday.
Aren't they supposed to check these things? Steve Lavin in his 3rd season, 39-25, established his credentials at UCLA and has come back to New York to try to revive this program.
Yeah, at UCLA, 6 consecutive NCAA appearances in 7 years there. And here at St. John's, as I said in the open, they're on the verge of a 2nd consecutive postseason appearance. More likely the NIT, but they still are a long shot for the NCAA tournament.
Might have to have a tremendous performance in the Big East tournament. Branch with a runner wouldn't fall for him, hit the rim 3 different times.
Well, actually, this would be a start right here. It'd be another ranked team, 2-6 against ranked teams. So they've got a couple of quality wins under their belt, but to begin here and do some damage in the in the Big East tournament would give them better credentials.
Vander Blue. St. John showing aggressive defense early. Blue for 3 with 8 on the shot clock.
Yeah, that 2-3 zone forced Marquette just pass the ball around the perimeter, something that normally that's not their game. They're a team that plays inside the 3-point line.
Neither one of these teams good long-range shooters. Both under 30%. Green lost it on the way in, kicks it into the corner. Nice pass by Branch to Garrett. Amir Garrett, the sophomore out of Los Angeles, the recipient of a nice bounce pass, and it's 2-0 St. John's.
There's a tendency to be over-aggressive defensively, and on that one, Cadogan left his man and paid the price.
Pass inside. Finally, O'Toole has a double-team block from behind. The follow no good. O'Toole again on the boards and will draw a foul.
Well, if at first you don't succeed, Chris O'Toole, a young man who we saw last week, was perfect from the field against Notre Dame. 8 for 8, 16 points. But go figure, the following game he plays, and he doesn't score against Rutgers.
It is amazing to watch people's up and downs this year. O'Toole, 6'11", 275. Really has a tough time at the free throw line, under 50%. And last week we saw him when they had Gardner and O'Toole in the lineup at the same time. There was not a rebound on the other side for a long while. Missed them both.
And that one did everything but go down, hit every piece of the rim.
Sampson, he's been their scorer since D'Angelo Harrison was suspended.
Well, we said 17 points, 8 rebounds over the last 4 games. Shooting 46% from the field. He's a go-to guy.
O'Toole in deep again, spins and put it home against Obekpa.
And Obekpa, second leading shot blocker in the nation, certainly leads the Big East. And O'Toole challenged him on that one.
O'Toole got right into him. There's a jumper that's short by Sampson. Lockett on the run. Little floater in the lane, and we're tied at 4.
Boy, and Obekpa just can't get the rhythm to get up there and contest those shots. And you kind of attribute that to the herky-jerky kind of play that Marquette is showing right now on offense.
Obekpa averages over 4 blocks per game, but he's had 3 inside opportunities in a row and hasn't even gotten off his feet.
Now, sometimes as a shot blocker, you need that rhythm. You need to be able to lead the offensive player. Shot clock down to 2, 1.
Sampson, tough shot off the edge of the window and a shot clock violation.
But here we go with Marquette. Substitutions right away. Just 3 minutes have passed. And we said that Buzz Williams, they play by committee. 9 players averaging 13 or more minutes. 6 players average at least almost 7 points per game. So they distribute the basketball, they distribute the minutes, they distribute the defensive assignments.
That bench provides more than 30 points a game. That's the 3rd best in the country.
More than anything else, that's what epitomizes team. You have that many guys getting the job done. Look at the ball movement there.
Been extremely unselfish, and Vanderblue, who broke out of a scoring slump with 22 against Rutgers, knocks down a long-range jump shot. He's only 29% from long range for the season. It's 7-0 Marquette run after St. John's hit the first 2 buckets. Depth will be an issue for St. John's with 2 players suspended. Green, tough shot, and he made it.
Well, inside-out play, Obekpa, he got too far under the basket. That should have been his shot, but fortunately he kicked it back outside to the open shooter. The defense was kind of drawn in when Obekpa received on the baseline.
Wilson backs out to the corner. This is Mayo. Good ball movement. They got it to Vanderblue, but he was on the sideline.
Well, Vanderblue, the leading scorer for Marquette, getting on track right here. Good ball movement, a bit of penetration, knocking it down.
John, thanks very much. We have a 1-point game here with Marquette on top, 7-6. Here are the brackets for the Big East Championship Tournament. Seton Hall and South Florida will start us off in the first round, followed by DePaul and Rutgers. Then an interesting matchup in that first round, Cincinnati-Villanova. One of the night games. Cincinnati up and down, and Villanova just seems to be getting better. Bourgault into the ballgame for the first time, and the import from France uses the window to give St. John's a 1-point lead.
Yeah, known as a three-point shooter. Marquette kind of bodied up with him, and he showed some versatility there.
Pretty tough when you're one of the best three-point shooters on the team. You only hit 32%. Long three for Mayo. Out of bounds to the Red Storm.
But to your point about Bourgault, 3 double-figure games against Georgetown, UConn, and South Florida. He was knocking down threes. And again, you want to take away, if you're Marquette, any opportunity for St. John's to get some life here.
Well, in the last 3 games, people have taken it away. He is 0 for 8 from long range. Back to the point you made earlier about the inconsistency in college basketball. Guy will have 31 night, nothing the next. Green in and out on a jump shot.
St. John's right now holding their own. Again, we have to mention Sir Dominic Pointer. 1-game suspension because of an altercation at Notre Dame, their last game. And D'Angelo Harrison suspended indefinitely because of conduct detrimental to the team. 2 of their leading scorers and 1 of their leading rebounders.
Gardner, turnaround, can't get the shot. Wilson goes inside.
Little English.
Almost made it, but he stepped on the baseline. The interesting thing about the 10 guys that Marquette plays, you have almost a perfect substitution pattern. Most guys don't have a backup point guard, and a backup shooting guard, and a backup center, and 2 backup forwards. Buzz Williams has that. That's why he plays 10 guys.
And they all have different roles and assignments. You're talking about backup point guard. Derek Wilson, a terrific defender, doesn't score much. As we see Jakar Sampson, again, continuing to pick up the slack in the absence of leading scorer D'Angelo Harrison. But a guy like Derek Wilson, he's not called upon to score. He's got a 3-to-1 assist-turnover ratio. He just makes sure guys get the ball. That's got to be goaltending.
He's done a terrific job off the bench, and it is a goaltend against Obekpa as well as the foul. And the foul is going to be on Derek Wilson, his first. The other thing playing 10 guys does for you, gives you 50 fouls to give.
Yeah, true.
Christian Jones, the freshman from Arlington, Texas, number 4, will check in for St. John's.
And even before the fouls are called, it allows you to play a much more physical brand of basketball.
Sure.
Which every opponent, we've done Marquette now, this is the 3rd time, every opponent has mentioned the fact that that's what characterizes his team, their aggressiveness on both ends of the floor.
Gardner missed his free throw, in spite of the fact that he is a hulking presence. He is a really good free throw shooter.
Yeah, that time Vanderbilt did a nice job on Bourgault challenging that jump shot.
Wilson. Long rebound comes out to Derek Wilson. He and Blue in the backcourt together. 3 won't go, and a loose ball rebound picked up by Christian Jones.
Interestingly enough, haven't really gone inside to Devontae Gardner. Marquette, again, a team that plays better inside the 3-point line. And on the other end, Christian Jones averaging just 2 points a game, playing with some confidence. St. John's seems to be finding people now to pick up the slack in their lack of scoring.
And that's exactly what they need. I mean, you take Harrison out of the lineup, it's almost 18 points a game that you automatically lose. And then Sir Dominic Pointer had been so good lately. You're losing a lot of points.
Well, St. John's has lost 5 out of their last 6. And in those 5 losses, they've averaged only 52 points a game. You see D'Angelo Harrison right there on the bench. Actually, not on the bench, in the stands. Seems to be enjoying sitting there. Hopefully it's not for too long. Hopefully he learns the error of his ways.
Well, from the way they talked about the conversations they have had, I think he already has. And Sir Dominic Pointer issued an apology for his involvement in the fight against Notre Dame that cost him one game. He said he just lost his poise, and he knows he can't let that happen.
And the same thing, I would hope that in Notre Dame, that Cameron Beachside would do the same thing.
Right.
I mean, these are Catholic schools, and contrition is certainly the name of the game, having gone to Catholic high school.
St. John's by one. Nice pass inside. There's the tip by Christian Jones off the miss. Jones has made an impact coming in off the bench. Another one of those highly recruited players by Steve Lavin. Reach in, a steal, but a foul.
Now remember, St. John's, they're at a deficit rebound margin on the season. But right now, they got everybody involved. When the help goes, there's nobody there really to put a body on Jones, and Jones takes advantage of it right in front of the rim. St. John's has really kept the ball from going inside with regularity. And as I mentioned before, that's where Marquette likes to play, inside the three-point line. Nice pass there, but you got to catch the ball, big fella.
Great pass by Taylor. Gardner couldn't hold it. Normally has pretty sure hands. Forgo from outside. No, one and done. Here comes Derek Wilson back the other. With the Golden Eagle. Gardner, and there's a foul on Christian Jones, his first. St. John's with a three-point lead over heavily favored Marquette first half. St. John's leading by 3 here, even though they're missing Sir Dominic Pointer. His last 7 games, 8.7 rebounds, a couple of double-doubles, but he got in a fight late against Notre Dame with Cameron Beachside. And both, because they threw punches, were suspended for this game after being ejected from that game. Pointer said he lost his composure and takes pride in his on-court intensity, but knows he can't let it get to that level and accepted the suspension. Not that he had any choice in that part of it, but you know, you got to appreciate his realization that emotions can overflow.
And I believe it's a heartfelt apology. I had a chance to talk briefly with him before the game, and every person that I've spoken to trying to, get some understanding of who he is, has said that he's been a peacemaker more times than any type of aggressor.
Yeah.
So sometimes it happens. I can't say that I haven't had my moments when I played, but today's a different story right now. The sanctions are far different. Guys have to be able to maintain their composure.
Steve Taylor Jr. got that last basket. Jones trying to penetrate, threw it away, but Forgo took it back from him and made the three. That was an easy steal. I don't think he ever saw Forgo come after it.
Well, he took his eye off the ball. If you take a look, he grabbed it and he was looking down the floor at the open floor.
He knew he had an easy run out. There's a 3-second call.
Take a look right here. He steps in front right there. He's looking at us. He's not looking at the ball. He knows it.
Forgo is going to play a big role in this game if St. John's can stay close. If he can stay hot from the outside.
Right, he's got to be able to stretch this Marquette defense. Because I don't think anybody else out there can.
No, Balamu missed his shot into the ball game for the first time. That looked like a walk, and it was. John Cowell comes over and says, Cadogan, no, they're going to call what? An offensive foul? A screen on Devontae Gardner. Right now, Marquette looks very lackadaisical in their approach offensively and defensively. How much of that springs from you think they're on the road against the team they expect to beat, and they've already, they've already wrapped up that double bye in the tournament?
You know what? For a lot of teams, I would say yes. But for this Marquette team, I mean, they have thrived on effort. And sometimes you just don't think that a team like this would ever let down on the effort, because that's habitual. I think St. John's is actually just playing well.
Well, they are. Sampson has to kick it back outside the green. Forgo looking for his shot. We're under 10 minutes. Sampson from 17.
See, wide open. Jakar Sampson, St. John's moving the ball, getting it to the people that are open.
Sampson has half a dozen, Len, and they're up by 6.
And defensively, they're kind of stymieing Marquette in, and they're keeping them out inside the paint, keeping them outside on the perimeter where they don't necessarily want to thrive for a while. Well, can't thrive for a while.
Christian Jones picks up his second foul for St. John's. Mayo will come back in the ball game for Marquette. Trent Lockett is back in as well.
And you know what is also a gift but can be a curse is that Buzz Williams has enough guys to rotate in and out to try to find the right combination. But sometimes when you do that, guys don't find their rhythm.
Wilson, how smooth is that? Nice turnaround jump shot.
Well, that's the guy we highlighted in the lineups, a guy who's really been outstanding offensively.
Forgo tries another three, can't connect. Cadogan on the run, clean-up jumper.
He lost that ball. It's questionable whether he should have even shot it or not.
Green, got it. Phil Green, the fourth out of Chicago. His last 3 games, he's averaging better than 10 a game.
And that's the kind of play I'm talking about with St. John's. They're putting forth some effort as well. You can say that it's maybe lackadaisical play by Marquette, but I think more of it is just St. John's demonstrating some hunger.
Here comes Green. Balamu going for the lob. It was defended well, knocked away. Balamu comes up with it, and I think he was fouled and goes to the ground.
Well, Phil Green has emerged as a scorer, showing that capability. Double figures in 9 of his last 10 games. And what he has done is just recognize that path to the basket. He goes hard and comes up a winner.
St. John's has apparently decided they are not going to make it easy on Marquette. They're going to share the Big East title.
Well, in talking to Steve Lavin before the game, he recognizes how precarious their NCAA tournament situation is. They're pretty much going to be an NIT team unless they can work some miracles. And he says this is the beginning of that single elimination type of situation every game now.
Sampson has 8, and that's a charge on Lockett. St. John's showing the kind of skill and the kind of play that they showed during the season until they lost 6 of the last 7.
Yeah, and the thing is, as I mentioned before, it's that kind of effort. They recognize that if they lose this game, probably NCAA hopes are dashed, but they have an opportunity to play in the NIT. So every game with regard to the NCAA tournament is one of those single elimination games. They just have to play on and figure out whether or not they can get past a ranked team like this. Would be their 3rd win against a ranked team.
They would have to win 4 in a row to get to that 20-win mark, and to me, that's the 38th parallel.
The Maginot line, huh?
Yes. 7.5 minutes left to go first half. St. John's by 8.
Nice look there.
Wilson forced the foul. We've got a timeout with 7 minutes, 28 seconds to go. Pretty day in New York. Pretty good basketball at the Garden.
Carolina back in the conversation now. They played so much better in the last month or so than they have. I mean, the loss at Duke obviously hurt them, but they've been playing pretty well. Last 6 games. P.J. Harrison, we talked about him a long time ago. Terrific shooter now. And Ryan Kelly, holy cow.
How about that first game back for Ryan Kelly?
I think the Miami guys didn't recognize him. They didn't know who that was.
Well, after he got to the 30-point plateau, they should have figured it out.
Too late. Too late.
He kept burying him. It's a nice young man. I'm happy for him that he's able to come back and play. And that was some performance. Mike Krzyzewski called it one for the ages. Wilson hits his free throw. 23-17. It had been a 9-2 St. John's run.
And I tell you what, again, impressed by St. John's, their defense. They've turned Marquette over 6 times. You know, they've gotten 8 more shots from the field due to those turnovers.
4 go for 3. St. John's played some pretty good defense.
Yeah, I mean, they extended 2-3. They're coming up on the wings and forcing doubles, taking away the baseline, and contested shots. Marquette can't really get anything inside. You take a look there, the challenge.
Baseline pass to Anderson. Now back outside to Wilson. 7 to shoot. Derek Wilson penetrating. And a foul on the rebound. Steve Lavin and the crowd upset as Sampson picks up a personal going after the offensive rebound.
And that's a tough one for St. John's. Sampson, the leading scorer right now with 8 points. That's his second personal. I suspect Steve Lavin's got to go to the bench.
What bench? Lost.
Whoever's on there with a white
guys.
shirt, man. A white shirt and a number.
Well, he was looking down the bench like, okay, well, he's going to bring Christian Jones back in. Jones has 2.
Actually, Jones has 4 and 4 rebounds as well. So he's done a nice job for a guy that only averages 2 points a game.
Gardner with 5 off the bench. They'll make it 6.
Boy, Trent Lockett makes a living on the floor, man. He's all floor burn.
He hustles. 23-19, knocked away. Wilson. Blocked from behind. Great defense by Branch.
Well, we talked about effort and hustle, and excellent hustle on the defensive end by Wilson, but even better hustle by Branch on the chase. And this is what I'm talking about with St. John's. You know, it's not that Marquette isn't playing with their usual verve. It's that St. John's right now is meeting that energy and then some.
Great hustle play by Branch. 6:15 and counting first half. Gardner asking for the ball inside. He's being guarded by Jones, which is a physical mismatch. Of course, Gardner's a physical mismatch with almost anybody. Great passing inside, but they can't convert. Derek Wilson back the other way for the Golden Eagles. Vanderblue goes baseline, lost it out of bounds. 6 Marquette turnovers in the first half, make it 7.
And again, a lot of it has to do with the way St. John's is guarding the interior, making it real difficult to get the ball in the paint, which is where Marquette likes to earn their living.
Borgo, after a brief rest, is back in. Green trying to penetrate and can't. Branch, the transfer from Texas A&M, has helped them at the point. Beautiful shot by Green. Phil Green, the 4th, who is a 23% long-range shooter. 23% you almost consider not shooting.
Yeah, but with that form, it's only a matter of time before he starts knocking those down with a little bit more regularity. Boy.
Vanderblue tries a long 3.
Another perimeter shot, Mike, by Marquette. They just cannot get the ball inside.
Green kicks it out to Borgo. 4:40 to go first half. 25-19. St. John's. Marquette has missed its last 6 against the Red Storm defense. Branch got around the screen, missed. Gardner with a rebound. Good luck getting a rebound away from Gardner.
St. John's a nice job again off the rebound, getting back defensively. Marquette wanted to push and explore, but 5 guys were already back.
Lockett.
And that's where they want to play. That's where Marquette wants to play, in the paint. One of the few breakdowns of the St. John's defense.
The lead cut to 4. Go from long range, missed it. Knew he was short and went and got it himself. No-look pass, and then they blew this shot.
Did you see that?
Christian Jones was wide open. It's one of the best passes I ever saw. Holy cow. This is awesome. No look, one hand, and nothing. John, what has happened to Syracuse? Just a remarkable slide at the end of the year.
Yeah, I mean, you got to believe that, one, a lot of folks are figuring out the 2-3 zone. They're also taking away the three-point shooters for Syracuse.
Kadeem Jai is into the ball game. He has been in 3 games before this all year and played 4 minutes. That's how thin this club is right now with the 2 suspensions.
But it's all about effort right now. He's got a white shirt. He's got a number. Steve Lavin's got to call it.
Yep. 3:10 left, first half from Madison Square Garden. Wilson loves it in the lane.
Pretty jump stop.
Very talented kid out of Racine, Wisconsin. Leads down to 2.
Again, for a team that's missing 2 of their leading scorers and one of their leading rebounders, St. John's playing with a lot of poise, particularly on the offensive end. Defensively, they're putting forth the effort, certainly. But offensively, playing with poise, and guys aren't afraid to shoot. It looks like they're executing.
Absolutely.
Giving Marquette a handful right now.
Garrett couldn't hit the last one. Good ball moving around the zone to get a wide open look. Offensive rebound or two-way back in the game. He lost it. And Garrett will track it down for St. John.
Interesting. Looked like Otule made some contact with his elbow to somebody's head, but officials didn't need to look at it, and nobody's calling for it.
It was a very physical exchange, and Borgo misses another.
Oh,
look at a three and then a block. Amir Garrett really got up to reject that one.
Well, it wasn't Chris Obekwa that blocked it. Once again, trailing the play, Garrett times it perfectly, uses that left hand. Got to be sure he doesn't fall in that left hand. A terrific prospect for the Cincinnati Reds, left-handed pitcher. Every time he falls on that arm.
Yeah. 4 blocks today for St. John's. The Red Storm leads the country in blocks, and Obekwa, who doesn't have one today, is second in the nation in blocks.
I think Dusty Baker swallows that toothpick every time he sees Garrett fall.
Betcha. Otule spins and gets the bucket.
And I'm surprised that Marquette doesn't go after him more often. I mean, Otule has shown that he can play in the post. He can score. Again, we talked about the 16 points, 8 for 8 against Notre Dame. That following game against Rutgers, he scored 0.
Been a 10-2 run to tie it up.
Now remember, Marquette's one of those teams that they don't care what the score is. They erased a 12-point deficit in the second half against Rutgers. They continue to play hard. They don't worry about the score. Next thing you know, they're on top.
Jump hook by Jones. He missed it. The offensive rebound goes to Jai, but he stepped out of bounds. So now Marquette with 1:07 to go first half has possession and a chance to regain the lead.
Well, you talked about Jai not playing an awful lot, but the bottom line is you talk about effort once again on the offensive glass. Steve Lavin can live with that kind of turnover because these guys are playing hard.
Lockett.
Look at the effort trying to get it inside, trying to go inside out.
Dugan
Pays.
a 22% long-range shooter. Junior Cadogan gives Marquette a 3-point advantage.
St. John's looking to hold for the last shot. Steve wants to talk it over.
26.7 seconds to go in the first half. Marquette up by 3. Well, St. John's has to be happy with the first half, but you know Steve Lavin wanted to have the lead going into the locker room. Try to hold for one shot. There's only a second difference between the shot clock and the game clock.
And a little wheel action looking for Borgo on the 3.
Green may have gotten away with off. Balamu had it tipped away. Borgo for 3. Way short. And with 1.4 seconds to go, the ball goes to Marquette.
Buzz trying to squeeze every bit of tenths of a second out of that clock, and he's asking John Cal to check it.
Timeout Marquette, 30-second timeout, 30.
It was hard to tell because the clock was running, but I thought it was maybe 1.2 difference between the game clock and the shot clock. If that was the case, there would still be 2/10 left. But we're getting really picky here.
Hey. We're getting a little trite, too, but we got to say it. Every second counts. The timeout right there is being called. It's really when the official recognizes it. You can't, they're going to go back and they're going to take a look at it now.
Goes to 0 at about 1.8, so I guess the shot clock is not an issue. The question is, when did Buzz Williams get his timeout, and how much time should go back on the clock, if any?
What? You got a razor so you can cut this one? That's how thin it is from the time that's appearing on the clock. Anytime they put 1.7 up there, so 0.3 of a second. That's what I said, squeezing every drop out of that clock.
0.3 can't hurt, right? John Cal says we reset at 1.7. Then it's Marquette basketball. What's your 1.7 second play?
Go long. That's all you can do.
Never a bad thought. One long pass, turnaround jump shot.
Let it go. There it is. Out of bounds. No time.
Now the ball will go back to St. John's under the basket.
Correct.
Because it never touched anybody inbounds. So it goes back to the point where it was inbounded. Now you're St. John's, you got 1.7 seconds left, and you don't have to go the length of the court.
Now I'm wondering if Vanderbilt ever played baseball or football as a quarterback in football, or ever played baseball because of the way he threw that basketball. Just didn't seem as though he had.
Didn't seem natural.
Didn't point the shoulder. Didn't point the foot where he wanted, and the ball got away from him.
Well, the result wasn't very good.
You know, he's not Amir Garrett, that's for sure. The lefty prospect. Ooh. And he's pinching his left hand, too. I don't want to keep raising that because I'm going to get calls from the organization.
St. John's to inbound to Jones, and he missed point blank. They got the look they wanted. Great inbounds pass, and Jones tried to tip it in with the right hand, kicked off the rim. Marquette with a 13-2 run in the last 8 minutes to take the lead after St. John's played him right up against the wall the entire first half. That's the end of the first half. Now we take you to the studio. Here's John Saunders. Okay, presented by 5 Hour Energy. We have a three-point ball game at Madison Square Garden as Marquette is leading St. John's 28-25. Welcome back to Madison Square Garden, everybody. And one of the reasons St. John's is doing so well in this ball game is because they were so physical against the big guys from Marquette early.
Yeah, that's the most impressive part of St. John's play, the ability to play physical in the paint, and it's really hurt Marquette up until the 13-2 run to end the half, and Devontae Gardner has been the recipient of that, and when Devontae Gardner tried to dish it out, he gets called for a foul. Now we're going to take a look at Marquette. They don't want to play outside the three-point line because they're 2 of 10 there. Inside, 8 of 15 in the paint, and as I said, characterized by that 13-2 run that vaulted them out to this lead. But St. John's definitely a team that's trying to match the physical play of Marquette, and in doing so, they're staying in this game despite the loss of D'Angelo Harrison, their lead scorer, and Sir Dominic Pointer, one of their leading scorers and certainly one of their better rebounders.
St. John's was so successful early because they shot well, 11 out of 22. Since then, they have made one of their last 14 shots. Anderson has been quiet. Cadogan, nice drive and got it over the big guy, Obekpa.
Boy, they have challenged him all day, and he really hasn't come up with the blocks.
Bad pass and the pick. Nice play by Vander Blue, goes end to end. And Steve Lavin has seen enough in 36 seconds to use one of his timeouts. The lead has grown to 7. Now the U.S. Army gives us a closer look at Steve Lavin in the look of a leader.
Well, Steve Lavin, obviously, third season at St. John's. Not only but 4 games in last season due to his illness, but this is a guy who knows how to get teams to the postseason. 6 consecutive NCAA appearances at UCLA. And again, they're looking at the NIT right now unless they can come up with some key wins and do some damage in the postseason tournament of the Big East. But he has now gotten guys to grow. And you look at this team right now, they're playing physical, matching a Marquette team that is in first place in the Big East.
Another turnover. That was the reason for Lavin's quick timeout to try to kill the momentum.
And also try to get his team refocused. But a young team like this, you got a veteran team like Marquette that amps it up as soon as they step on the floor in the second half. There's no time to waste if you're St. John's.
Marquette has scored 20 of the last 22 points going back to the first half. And even guys like Juan Anderson, who's a 29% long-range shooter, knocking down the threes. It's amazing. Once you get a lead, how much easier it is to shoot three-point shots.
For some of us.
Obekpa backing in, kicks it out to Phil Green. Green with a miss, 1 and done on the rebound to Lockett. Pushes it ahead to hurry, and Vander Blue knocks it down. Steve Lavin has to use another timeout as all of a sudden Marquette has raced to a 12-point lead. Great start for Marquette here in the second half. Len, they've hit all 4 of their shots from the floor.
Well, this is a learning experience for a young team. They're literally getting run out of the garden. You see the transition by Marquette. The push, first pass gets to the open shooter. They're crashing the boards, they're kicking it out. And again, for a young team like St. John's, this is a learning experience. You've got to be able to come out in the second half and play with the same energy and intensity. You don't have time to amp it up or ramp it up.
Borgo, who was 1 of 9 from three-point range in the first half. Jones, nice drive. Christian Jones, the freshman from Arlington, Texas.
And that's the kind of effort, if you're Steve Lavin, you wished you would have seen after the ball was inbounded in the second half, right from the jump.
Really needed that. Cadogan gives it up to Anderson. Slashes down the lane for another layup. So Anderson with 5 in the second half.
Yeah, Juan Anderson, known as a defender, that's why he starts. He can defend 3 positions, long, lean, quick. And you can see offensively when he gets an opportunity. Another pass that's being taken away.
Vanderblue.
You can't
Really
throw that back.
lazy passes. You throw the ball that far across the court, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, Vanderblue's just waiting to shoot the gap. Bill Green now trying to assume the role as playmaker. Having done a good job as a scorer, just having so much difficulty executing offensively.
Obekpa, one of the few times he's touched the ball inside. Sampson with a fadeaway, got it. Jakar Sampson, who's really their best scoring option. Certainly within 15 feet. Anderson down the lane. Blocked by Obekpa. That's his second. He was credited with one in the first, although we never saw it. And now Christian Jones with the jam and draws the foul on top of it.
As I said, you don't have time to amp it up. You gave Marquette a 10-point head start. St. John's now seems to have gotten back into that groove. But you can't give Marquette that kind of a head start. That's the learning experience right there. You got to start right from the get.
Christian Jones with a chance to set his career high in his freshman season. Tied it with 8 points, came up short on the free throw. The lead is 10. Can St. John's maintain this intensity? There's a cross-court pass that Jones picks up, and Jones scores, and Cadogan called for the foul. So Christian Jones, seeing turnabout fair play, makes the pick, gets the bucket, and he'll go to the free throw line when we come back to the Garden in New York. Big East Conference Tournament coming up next week at Madison Square Garden. Going to be a blend of sadness and nostalgia, as it will be the last one for the Big East as it is currently structured. Seton Hall and USF will start it off. DePaul and Rutgers in the first round. 4 teams get the double buys. 2, Notre Dame and Syracuse, get the single buys. And you just have to wonder if Syracuse can right the ship as they start the tournament here. That won't be an easy task.
No, it won't. You can't. It's hard to regain momentum. But, you know, we've seen it before. Teams come in stumbling, and like the UConn.
Yes.
And all of a sudden they win 11 in a row to win a national championship.
Rebound to Sampson off the missed jump shot and a reach-in foul.
And going back to the standings, Mike, you know, we talk about the double bye, and everybody thinks that that's such an advantage. But take a look at the number. 15 and 14 by teams with the double bye. And only 2 have won the title since it started.
It is a shocker, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost too much rest. Or there are other theories that teams get complacent with the fact that they're already in the NCAA tournament. And the NCAA tournament is more important. They want to get some rest. They don't play maybe with the effort that they should.
Lockett has it blocked. And a foul.
Blocking foul on the block. Actually, Obekpa said, stay off my block. That ball actually was under the rim. I don't think it ever would have gotten to the rim. Nevertheless, the shot was blocked.
Christian Jones gets his 3rd foul. And Lockett will go to the free throw line.
Well, this will be the 10th free throw attempt. 10th and 11th free throw attempt by Marquette. St. John's, surprisingly, only 1 free throw attempt in this whole game.
Well, you said at the beginning, Marquette likes to play inside in the lane. And if you do that, if you have an aggressive offense, you're automatically going to draw more fouls. And St. John's has been rather perimeter-oriented in its offense in this one.
Well, throughout the year, Marquette is a +5 in free throw attempts and +5 in free throw makes on average during the season versus opponents. So they get to the line because they play physically, they play inside, and they force you to guard.
42-33. St. John's will try to shave this lead down to a more comfortable margin. Or go with a runner in the lane. No, got a rebound and tipped it outside to Green. And Green in the lane scores to cut it to 7.
Phil Green the fourth, a little flip on the offensive tip back. And St. John's continues to hang around. They're playing solid defense.
Like that.
Yep, they got their sea legs. After the first 5 minutes, they were getting drowned by Marquette, and all of a sudden they've awakened.
Obekpa, speaking of awakening, gets an offensive rebound and draws a foul. Of course, the last thing he wants to do is go to the free throw line. Foul on Parker.
Well, the nation's leaders in blocks, and Obekpa is second in the country in blocks on average. Nerlens Noel from Kentucky, who is out for the rest of the season, on average leads the NCAA. But you can see how St. John's does a nice job of protecting that rim.
Obekpa shoots 35% from the free throw line. That's approaching chance.
And that's also in his head. I mean, if you got good form and you shoot and you get a feel for shooting free throws, I bet you could hit 3 out of 10 with your eyes closed. I'm serious.
I agree. That's why I said it's approaching chance. So his form on the first one looked pretty good. He had a nice rotation on it.
It's in his head. And you've got to have the confidence.
Well, that one wasn't in his head. That was just bad.
You know what? I mean, the form was decent, but he's shooting it off the palm of his hand instead of his fingertip. That's just a lot of work that needs to be done.
Came into this game making 14 of 40 on the season. And those are points he just gives away. Would have had another block if the shot gone up. Cadogan with a runner. Got it. Wow. Nice drive by Junior Cadogan. Used the window. And it's 44-35. Good pass inside, but blocked on the jumper by Sampson. The ball ended up kissing off the side of the window. Cadogan back the other way. Got his own rebound. Vander Blue.
They continually try to get it outside. You saw there's a turnover right there. This is a mix-up. But you saw Cadogan on 2 plays prior just drive straight to the basket, use every part of his body trying to make contact with the defender as he goes to the basket. And the senior right there has come a long way. 10th in the conference in assists. Last 4 games averaging 10 points a game, shooting 50% from the field. And you know, most of that, since he's a 22% three-point shooter, most of that's inside that line.
Yes, sir. Sampson with O'Toole right in his face, and he found a way to get it down.
But he's got such a nice, soft touch. He gets a little bit of fadeaway that kind of softens that touch, that backspin.
O'Toole with another block. Sampson, the 7-time Big East Rookie of the Week, has a dozen. Bryant, a circus shot. And Jamal Bryant cuts it down to 5, and here come the Red Storm. The momentum has obviously shifted, and Buzz Williams saw it and wants a timeout. A 12-3 run for St. John's. It's amazing the number of games we've done this year that have been games with 15-1, 12-3 runs.
Well, when you're playing with young players, again, it's all about confidence. And during these runs, young players like Jakar Sampson, they start to feel it. And once again, here's Branch with the drive, just trying to play a bit physically himself. You know, he had to be an English major.
The NBA Sunday Showcase on ABC features a great doubleheader. First at 1, the Celtics and the Thunder. Then at 3:30, the Bulls and the Lakers. Coverage tips off with Kia NBA Countdown at 12:30. Both games also live on Watch ESPN.
And how about Kobe's ultimatum? Any guy that doesn't buy into the fact that they're going to make the playoffs, they ought to be cut.
Well, will he write the check when you cut him?
He could probably.
He could.
But will he, right?
could and would are two different things. 12:41 to go in this game. The lead is down to 5. O'Toole gives a screen at the top of the circle. That was a block by Sampson in the corner. St. John's playing some wicked defense right now.
And that's been the case, except for a few moments when Marquette goes on a couple of runs. Physical defense, solid inside. Whoa.
What a follow by Sampson. Off the miss from Jones. Holy cow. And Sir Dominic Pointer, who's suspended for this game because of his fight against Notre Dame, being the cheerleader right now. Anderson into the lane, has to dish it off. O'Toole walk. Oh, do you believe this? St. John's, left for dead at the start of the half, has come roaring back. They're down by only 3.
Well, I'll tell you, look out, Delilah. Here comes Sampson.
Take a look at how Jakar Sampson is making it happen. Brought to you by Chili.
Well, a freshman, 7-time freshman of the week in the Big East, is everywhere on the offensive glass, especially here at a big basket in that last St. John's possession before the break.
Say 14-3 Johnny's run. It has cut the lead to only 3 points with 11:57 to go. Marquette with a win would get a piece of the Big East title with Georgetown, although Georgetown is going to be the official regular season winner because they have the tiebreaker. But still, Marquette gets a share, and that's pretty good when you're a preseason pick to finish 7th. Two teams that have overachieved in this one. Todd Mayo checks in. Gardner is also in for Buzz Williams.
Ken, you can't say enough about the tenacity of the St. John's defense. They're without, again, their leading scorer, D'Angelo Harrison, 18 points a game. Sir Dominic Pointer, 7 points a game, but an outstanding rebounder. They're already at a -4 rebound deficit on the season, but yet they're scrapping and clawing, staying in this ballgame.
Credit to Steve Lavin to motivate them for this contest. A lot of contact inside. Sampson was trying to get it to Jones.
And well, he should. Christian Jones with 10 points, 5 of 9 from the field. And when you take a look at the bench scoring, we lauded the fact that Marquette, 3rd in the nation in putting up points on the bench, almost 31 points a game. They're actually beaten by St. John's bench, and that's just 2 guys, Borgo and Christian Jones. 15-14, St. John's bench leads Marquette.
And most of that is Jones because Borgo has been stone cold. Steve Taylor Jr. with a miss, but a long rebound comes right back to him.
Borgo hasn't been cheating his shots, though. 2 of 12, including 1 of 10 from beyond the arc.
Wilson to Mayo, straightaway look for 3. Another long rebound.
Mayo's got to be careful. He's got to step up to the right line. He's shooting behind the pro line right now. That light blue line is the college line.
What's the next line out? He was close to a 3rd one if they painted one on the floor. Taylor used the window. Nice shot. The freshman from Chicago puts it in to give Marquette a 5-point lead.
Inadvertent use of the window still counts. That's a long jump hook.
I thought he planned that. It gives him a better angle. But you would know better than I inside.
I was going to say, does it matter? In the scorecard, it looks like a vicious dunk.
Foul on Wilson. Tonight on ESPN, you can catch 2 more big college games. First at 6, Kansas against Baylor. Then at 9, the ultimate rivalry, Duke and North Carolina. Both games also live on Watch ESPN. Marquette extending its defense. Sampson. The rebound to Taylor.
Yeah, Steve Taylor Jr.'s got to be careful. If he's guarding Sampson, he's going to step out and hedge. He better recover. Oh, that's lazy, careless pass.
Yes, it was. And Phil Green took advantage, and then Phil Green makes a bad pass to the other end. Here comes Mayo back from Marquette.
Both teams got to recognize, as hard as each are playing, you can't just float the ball in the air. Both of these teams playing hard. They're going to go get it. Take a look at that floater right there. Boy, that was up in the air long enough. I could have jumped from behind this bench and gotten that one.
It was high enough for a fair catch.
Just have to recognize the intensity level and match it.
Mayo double screen off the inbounds, and he drains a 15-footer on the baseline. Nicely designed play and perfect execution.
Yeah, it was so good that there wasn't a white shirt near him. And, you know, we were talking about how hard St. John's was playing, so you know there had to be a pretty good screen in order to free him the way he was freed.
Mayo only shoots 39% from the floor, which amazes me, because every time we see him, he looks like a much better shooter than that.
Takes a lot of jump shots, and I think that's what brings down his percentage.
Branch kicks it out to Green, and Phil Green, the fourth, hits a three. Big shot for St. John's.
Yeah, he's shown the capacity to score over the last 10 games, double figures in 9 of them, and averaging about 11 points over the last 10 games. So once again, guys are stepping up. Just a terrific little bit of penetration. Baseline, looks like he never stepped on that line. And the knockdown. Officials are taking a look. Looked like his right foot was on the line.
Did. They have credited a three, which would give Green 11 points. But I think they're going to end up taking this away from him. We show the officials every angle we have until they are able to make a determination. His right foot, which appeared to be on the line, is actually blocked by the head of another player. There's a better look.
Yeah.
Looks like a toe's on the line, doesn't it?
Certainly does. We have a chance to look at it off network. And
that was a great look. Good job by our guys, and the lead now stands at 5 at 48-43. Can St. John's make the big comeback in this game that could be the start of a miracle run for them, which is what they need? Long jumper won't go from Mayo. Green back the other way into the lane. Missed the shot, but drew the foul. Well, Green's taken over.
He certainly is. Actually didn't have numbers. He tried to take 2 guys defensively. He was able to split the defense, draw the foul.
Cadogan picked up the foul, his third. St. John's has gotten nothing out of the free throw line. 0 for 4. They get 5. And Green is a 72% shooter. He's one of their best free throw shooters, one of their best players. D'Angelo Harrison suspended for the rest of the season.
He's got those glasses that he doesn't wear during the games.
St. John's finally makes a free throw. That cuts the lead to 4. That's one of the things about a Beckpot. You can't afford to leave him on the floor in the closing minutes of a game because he simply can't shoot free throws.
Right, an automatic turnover down the stretch in close game situations.
Dugan tries to get it inside.
Can't be careless. St. John's very active. Shot clock down to 6.
Good pass there. And
man.
a great turnaround jump shot. Steve Taylor Jr.
Steve Taylor Jr. showing a little bit of moxie inside.
Yes, he is.
Creating space for himself.
Got a foul called on the floor. 7:17 to go. Timeout.
ESPN.
John, thank you. And to all of you, welcome back to Saturday Showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy. We have a good one here with Marquette up by 6.
Well, this is where the intensity starts for St. John's. They lead the nation in blocking shots at about 7.4 per game. This game, they've already got 8, so they've surpassed their average. And what it's done for them, giving them opportunities for transition, push the ball up the floor, and it's created far more opportunities for them. Forced 14 turnovers, and they have essentially got 8 more shots from the field than Marquette. That's what's allowing them to stay in the ballgame.
And a big cheer for Obekpa as he hits a free throw. He is 1 for 3 at the line, which is about his season's average. But he hits both on this trip to cut it to 4. Big boost for him.
He was actually moving backwards when he shot that.
He was. Well, he gained confidence from the first one.
See, I got this.
What a bonus that would be if he would just turn into an average free throw shooter.
Well, that's the kind of confidence that made in a close game situation allows Steve Lavin to keep him in the ballgame.
Steve Taylor Jr. blocked by Obekpa. The follow won't go. Another follow won't go. And finally taken down by Branch. Green, nice fake floater in the lane. No, would have cut it to 2.
And you see what the blocks did. After that block, every guy who tried to put the ball back up for Marquette rushed it, essentially trying to avoid Obekpa, and that's what the shot blockers can do. They can change the mentality of the offensive players.
Steve Taylor works his way in, dropped the ball off or had it knocked away right into the hands of Gardner. Where was all this Obekpa aggression in the first half?
Like I said, it's hard to amp it up. It takes time to do, and you can't give Marquette that head start, which they did in the second half, St. John's, and now they're roaring back.
Branch does a great job keeping his dribble alive, gets it off to Green, and Phil Green knocks down another one. Phil Green with 13 points. He averages 9-8. Vanderblue offensive rebound.
And again, Obekpa's presence changed that layup.
You don't have to get too many rejected to have that happen, do you?
Well, you know, that's what happens. You can block shots, you can change shots, but you can also change minds.
Blue had a good look, got by Sampson, but kicks it back outside. Wilson for the jump shot. Jamil Wilson.
Offensively, once again, Vanderblue under control with that fake. Draws the defenders focused on him, and Wilson just steps into a nice opportunity delivered by Vanderblue. Something to be said about the ball fakes now when you're really attacking a zone defense and you're the leading scorer on the team. You're being watched. You ball fake, you're going to draw some attention, and that's what sets up other guys if they get in the right spots.
Green hits the free throw. Will go, and Sampson will sit. Steve Lavin gets Christian Jones back into the ballgame. Green with a chance to cut the lead to just 3 points. Tipped outside.
Nice job by
Terrific effort by Emil Garrett. 3-second violation called on Jones. Wow. Oh, Steve Lavin, look at this. He did not care for that call at all. got to be saying that's the quickest 3 seconds I ever saw in my life.
Back in for Marquette, number 42.
Comes at an inopportune time. So we're trying to cut into a 5-point lead, and we have gone under 5 minutes. Oh, Beckpaw just hanging out in the middle of that defense. Gardner rode him out of there for a second.
Marquette's got to get a little bit better spacing right now. Force St. John's to run a little bit further.
Wilson. Jamil Wilson has made the last 2 buckets, and it's 57-49. Wilson with 11 points on the game, but Green is on fire for St. John's. He drains one, and the lead's back to 6. Well, no matter what happens at the end of this game, St. John's has served notice that you better pay attention to him next week in the tournament. Vander Blue for 3.
We're recognizing and seeing excellent patience against zones. Some pretty savvy passing to find open men.
And these are 2 teams that shoot under 30% from long range.
Marquette's going to need all of those passes. Better spacing, kicking to open men. Vander Blue got to come alive.
All right, John, in Tennessee, according to Joe Lunardi, has now joined the first 4 out group after Kentucky's win today moves the Wildcats into the last 4 in, along with Temple, Virginia, and Boise State.
Well, you look at Tennessee, with that Kentucky win, they got pushed back to the bubble, according to Joe Lunardi. How about that? 3 SEC teams on the bubble. They may ultimately cannibalize each other.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Somebody is going down.
All these free throws are huge. St. John's misses another one.
St. John's some full court pressure. Almost had a steal, but Jakar Sampson almost got hurt.
Mayo helping to work the clock. Good pass to Wilson. He's fouled on his way in. And be careful, boys.
I think Wilson's pretty lucky. He had that foot up, and I think he made contact with his own man.
St. John's doesn't have any other players to lose in the event of a suspension.
I'm not so sure what that was about. Sure, you hit the deck, but you're flying through the lane. You got to expect that.
Oh, Beckpa picked up his 3rd. Wilson was obviously upset about something on the way down to the floor. He's a 76% free throw shooter. He saved his best game of the year for Syracuse. 12 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. He did just everything when they knocked off the Orange.
Well, in the last 10 games, this is his 9th double-figure game. Coming into this game, over the last 3, he had been averaging 13 points. So he has really stepped it up. He's averaging 9 points a game now. So you can tell how he's stepped it up offensively.
1 out of 2. The lead is 10. Sampson. Last touch by St. John's out of bounds to Marquette. ESPN College Basketball available live anytime, anywhere on your computer, tablet, smartphone at watchespn.com and with the Watch ESPN app. St. John's trying to create something with its defense. Cadogan guarded by Branch. Marquette can afford to burn most of the shot clock, but then Gardner has the ball stolen and commits a foul on top of it.
If I'm Buzz Williams, I just kind of shake my head with Devontae Gardner on that particular play. St. John's playing man-to-man. You're bringing it to your guy. Your guy goes back door. You got to protect the ball. And, you know, Wilson gets pointed at by Gardner, but Gardner's the one handling the ball. Wilson did the right thing. You got to recognize that double team. You got to deliver it. And they're still talking about it, trying to communicate on the lane.
Sampson missed that free throw badly. St. John's is 4 of 12 from the free throw line. 4 of 12.
Boy, that just deflates any energy buildup that you have that's been carrying you when you have an opportunity for easy points and you blow that opportunity. Now they have full court pressure right now, trying to keep that energy up.
Good pass ahead to Cadogan.
That was a 3-on-2 advantage break if Marquette wanted it, but they're looking really to shave time off this clock.
Buzz Williams up, giving instructions. And Gardner ran into a double team just trying to get inside 25 feet. That thing is launched from long range, tipped and a foul as Gardner got the follow.
And the unsung hero in that one is Vander Blue, keeping it alive. Tracked down the long rebound and tipped it to Gardner.
And Christian Jones picked up his 4th. And as opposed to Obekpa, Devontae Gardner, the big man at 6'8", 290, is an exceptional free throw shooter. So he can stay in there in any situation. In and out.
I mean, one of the things he just did, he popped that hand back instead of leaving up that follow through. That's when you get extraordinary rotation and probably didn't get the bounce that he'd like.
Timeout with 2:15 left in the game. The lead is 9. Let's show you how the seeding shape up for the Big East Tournament Championship next week. Take a look at the second round with St. John's set to face Providence. Notre Dame gets the winner of USF and Seton Hall. Cincinnati to play Villanova, and Syracuse awaits the winner of DePaul and Rutgers. I'm not sure at this point that Syracuse is comfortable with any matchup they're going to get in the tournament.
Yeah, they've got some regrouping to do. There's no question about it. And how about the job Ed Cooley's done at Providence, man? They're terrific. At least been in the NCAA tournament conversation.
And of course, it is such a busy week for all of us. 222 men's and women's games on the family of networks. 222.
Sometimes it seems like few of us are doing all of them,
doesn't it? Gardner missed the first. He'll get another. Marquette up by 9.
but we wouldn't have it any other way.
Not at this time of the year, that's for sure. Wow, Gardner missed the second one. That was way short. Sampson back the other way. St. John's running out of time. Green, a little fadeaway. Got it! Phil Green has been sensational, particularly in the second half. He has 18 points. He's cut the lead to 7. And now a foul on Sampson. Check it. They're going to give it to Amir Garrett.
Well, D'Angelo Harrison averaging 18 points a game is gone. But Phil Green is here, averaging 9, but he's really stepping up, doubling his season average with a nice little step back and fadeaway. We always wondered before this game who was going to step in the breach with Harrison's suspension and Pointer's 1-game suspension.
Well, the last 3 have been averaging 10.5 points a game, but really picked it up in this one. He's made some tough shots as well.
St. John's foul charge number 1, Phil Green, his first, team 6.
There's Harrison, the 3rd leading scorer in the Big East, suspended for the rest of the year.
Good sign for St. John's, though, that he is here.
It is.
And, you know, he's invested because he's looking at the scoreboard. So you know he's invested in his teammates, invested in his team. That's just going to be a meeting of the minds. Got to be an attitude change. Talking to Steve Lavin, they absolutely want him back, but they want him back as a leader. You know, not as someone who can essentially poison the well. And sometimes the body language, sometimes the attitude can do that.
And we saw that.
Yeah. But he's a young man. And, you know, some guys mature at different levels. As Steve said, though, it's got to be a transforming situation. You just can't come back and say, okay, I'll do it. You got to be transformed. You got to really demonstrate that you're committed to being the type of player, type of teammate that St. John's believes is worthy of putting that shirt on.
For sure. The look on Gardner's face as he made that first free throw said it all. He sort of wished that one in and then drains the second. The lead back to 9. St. John's going to need some threes. They defend the three, does Marquette, and Green blows by for the easy 2.
It's hard for me to believe, though, that there was nobody back in the paint to protect. Dugan gets the timeout. Take a look how quickly St. John's gets the ball up the floor. Put it in Phil Green IV's hands. There's nobody to protect. Devontae Gardner's there, but he's not in the paint to help. What are you thinking, big fella? That's your job.
But I like the defense of the three-point line, to put your other 4 guys out there and try to make sure that they have to drive, because a 2-point field goal doesn't hurt you at this point.
You got to get quick ones, but you're right. I mean, Phil Green, though, has really kept St. John's in the mix in this game with some clutch shooting. And we talked about his emergence as a capable scorer. You know, he'll be back next year. And that's what Steve Lavin talked to me about before the game. He says, look, we've had some ups and downs, but most of these guys, all of these guys, are going to be back next year. You know, this learning experience, this maturing experience is just going to pay dividends to St. John's next year.
Green has hit 9 out of 13 shots from the floor, 20 points. That's only 4 off of his career high. And with this talent that you can see, the freshmen and sophomores, future looks pretty bright. Full court pressure. Wow. That wasn't a foul?
Well, it looked like he got all ball, and
it was the free arm that he had wrapped around him.
Went off Mayo's foot, but you can't be that lackadaisical. Wow. Bonjour, Mr. Bourgault.
It's a huge three from a guy who had struggled so much from the floor. Cuts the lead to 4. Mayo trying to beat the timeline. Does to Dugan. Double team. Balamu commits the foul.
You can even hear the fans wondering the same thing we are.
Fouling.
You can take a look right there, wide open. And Bourgault finally knocks down another.
Mayo will go to the free throw line. Excellent from the stripe. 81% on the year. In and out. Both teams missing huge free throws. Branch. The foul by Sampson. It's a 2-point game. Holy cow. What a comeback by St. John's.
Beginning of this telecast, I talked about talent and effort. Marquette now, they're not the most talented team in the conference, and neither is St. John's. I think Marquette's got more talent, but St. John's demonstrating right now down the stretch more effort. Look at that, and you talk about somebody that you wouldn't expect. Balamu on the weak side glass, no block out. Devontae Gardner gets pushed underneath. And Balamu being opportunistic brings St. John's within 2. And it's all about the effort.
And keep in mind that this is all being done without D'Angelo Harrison, who averages almost 18 points a game, and Sir Dominic Pointer, who's been on an offensive tear lately. And everybody else is stepping up. They can really be proud of this effort.
Yeah, the largest lead by Marquette in this game was 14 points, and you saw that's the largest deficit over which St. John's was able to overcome. So they've been here before, just not necessarily against this quality opponent.
Possession arrow may be the most important part of this. It goes to St. John's if there's a tie-up.
And you would hope that both teams recognize that. St. John's, if they get caught in a tie-up, they don't have any times out.
Missouri and Tennessee coming up next. Don't you think it's every player's responsibility, regardless what the coaches say, to take a look at that possession arrow when they take the floor?
Absolutely. But assistant coaches, that's part of their job.
Yep, sure is. Full court pressure. Dugan gets it across the timeline.
And very wary of Phil Green behind him. St. John's does not want to foul now. They've got an opportunity to play solid defense. Get the ball back for the last shot.
29-second difference between the game clock and the shot clock. 8 to shoot here. Cadogan off balance. St. John's basketball. Branch. We're tied. A 9-0 run by the Red Storm. Didn't see this coming.
Oh, I'll tell you what. Taking advantage of the opening. I mentioned it before. I'm surprised. We talked about Green getting to the cup with no help. First of all, excellent defense. Cadogan falling away. And look, nobody back to play D. You had Vanderblue there, but what can he do? He's not a shot blocker. And Branch just recognizes the opportunity and just takes the pass given to him. Now, certainly that was a quick two. It ties it up. It gives Marquette the last shot. But you got to take advantage of that shot.
Sure.
There's no way in the world you back it up and hold it.
And Branch and Green have really been sensational, haven't they?
Oh, absolutely. The guards have picked it up. You talk about intensity. You could see it in that play. You could see it on the face of Branch, and you could see it on the face of Phil Green on his drive. Both Jamal Branch and Phil Green, again, ball handlers, aggressive.
Glenn, who do you like for a final shot as Marquette going to work it down to at least 10 seconds before they run their offense?
Come on, this is Marquette. You can say any one of the five
Any
guys.
10.
That's right. Whoever's out there on the floor, wherever the opportunity presents itself, they're going to go because no one is better than the other.
Oh, Beckpaw is back in there as the shot blocker, so it might not be Gardner.
Well, I'll tell you what, though. Cadogan's got to have the ball in his hand. And I suspect he's got to be able, I don't like the high screen in this situation, got to be able to penetrate. He can beat Branch off the bounce, force the defense to collapse on him. Better watch out for the 5-second call.
Gardner, top of the circle. 5 seconds to shoot. St. John's ball. Branch from near three-quarter court just came up short and will go to overtime. How about this?
Once again, I don't know why Junior Cadogan gave up the ball. The point guard has to break down the defense. Once he gave up the ball, you take a look right here. He gives up the ball at the top. They're lost. Point guard has to be the playmaker with the shot clock, game clock going down. Put it on the floor. You got to be able to penetrate, create an opportunity for yourself or others. No execution, poor execution or no execution by Marquette.
In this game, at least, Gardner has not distinguished himself as a passer from the top of the circle.
Especially not down the stretch. That
Yes.
ball should not be in his hand because he can only do one thing from up there. Pass the ball.
Exactly.
St. John's and everybody else in the arena knew that.
Now, if you're St. John's, you got to be saying to yourself, boy, wouldn't this be sweet? Pull this off in the last game. What are you thinking if you're Marquette?
If you're Marquette, you're thinking, my golly,
Yeah.
we're getting out energized, we're getting out hustled, and here we are. We're supposed to be the team of opportunity. We're supposed to be the team that out efforts everyone, and St. John's has kind of set the pace.
But you're not really thinking, my golly, are you?
Well, no, not really. This is TV though, family TV.
Five more minutes of basketball. Otule and Obekpa. Green retrieves for St. John's. This is Sampson.
Well, if you want to put it that way, by golly or any other way, Marquette has a second chance now to out-effort St. John's to play their game. But I just love the way St. John's has played. Tenacious defense and aggressive offense.
Sampson got the bounce on the jump shot. If he hadn't, Obekpa was right there for the follow above the rim.
And that's what happens. You play hard, good things happen. You ultimately find some luck, too.
Blue, Cadogan, and Lockett, the three guards. Wilson and Otule up front. And a little weave outside. Vander Blue with a jumper. No.
Oh, nice
Offensive
job.
rebound to Otule, and he passed it falling down to avoid traveling.
Nice job.
I mean, that's
Otule.
physically, that's a great play, and intellectually, it's a brilliant play.
Take a look right here. Loses his balance, and you're right. If he had hit the deck with the ball, it would have been called traveling. And Marquette gets another chance.
Cadogan guarded by Green. Use Wilson at the high post here.
See, I don't like the high screen from Marquette. Cadogan misses that shot there. Just
Got it back. Another foul.
And there's Wilson, Johnny on the spot, or Jamil on the spot. Whatever one you want. But I don't like the high screen with Otule or Gardner, because what are they going to do with it out there if there's a switch? If there's a hedge out, there won't be a hedge out because the guy coming off the street can't shoot. Not from out there.
Branch missed a long three, but somehow Obekpa got a hand on it. Tipped it back outside. Obekpa with a screen. This might be on Obekpa.
Timeout.
Ah, they called a timeout.
Timeout, St. John. 30-second timeout, extended to a full timeout.
2:54 to go in overtime. Hey, Gus. Tied at 65 in overtime. 2:54 to go from Madison Square Garden. St. John's fought its way back in this game.
Well, that's the sign that says we are St. John's, and they've done it with an awful lot of hustle. The guards, Branch, still Green the fourth, really taking it to Marquette, and they've matched Marquette's physical play with a bit of their own. And how about Felix Balamu with a tying bucket, and there you see Branch with the drive and doing an outstanding job again of just finding the opportunity, the lanes down the middle where the defense isn't, and making it work.
Scored the last 9 points in regulation to put this game in overtime. 2:47 and counting. Sampson forced it up. Obekpa got the rebound. Shot clock will run out, though. Obekpa not aware of where the shot clock was. He needed to put that back up right away.
Yeah, and you know, you expect the bench to stand up. You expect everybody to get up and say, shoot it, because that original shot by Sampson hit the backboard but did not hit the rim.
I'm always amazed by the first 2.5, 3 minutes of overtime, how slow they are compared to the last frantic seconds of regulation.
Oh, it's building up to a climax, you know?
St. John's with in-your-face man-to-man defense. 11 to shoot.
That's been their key all game.
Kaduga,
Blocked by Obekpa.
the nation's second leading shot blocker, with another rejection. He has 7. Obekpa tries to follow. Now with the left hand. Chris Obekpa from Nigeria. Offensively, he is a project. Defensively, he's right there.
But big fella taking over in that sequence. Not only are we talking about excellent timing, he's got a 7'5" wingspan. Now he's able to get off his feet, and he keeps it inbounds. That's the key to blocking shots. You control it, keep it in bounds, and here Green with a tough floater, and Obekpa almost slammed it home, but nevertheless used that left hand, that bandaged left hand. That was a huge sequence for the big fella and for St. John.
Tell you what, you know as well as anybody that a lot of rebounding is I want it more than you
Absolutely.
do. And he has shown he wants it more than anybody right now. 4 points, but that last 2 was as big a bucket as he's had all year, I'll bet.
Well, you got to have a type AA personality to go after some of those in this kind of game.
He made a lot of people say, oh, golly, on that one.
You've heard me say golly before.
Yeah, but you're the only one I ever hear say, oh, golly. At least the last 20 years.
Little Richard doesn't count.
You're just too nice. Gardner tries a backdoor pass. And then Branch throws it away. And then Marquette throws it away. You know, that thing is pretty precious right now. You gotta hold it close to your chest.
And you called it. You talk about Devontae Gardner has not distinguished himself as a passer.
Yep.
And then the frenetic pace down the stretch in minute 39 here in overtime.
So St. John's with another opportunity, 1:39 to go in the overtime.
That's a mismatch right there, Sampson. But good help there by Lockett. Sampson on Devontae Gardner was about to take him to the basket.
Branch will direct traffic. Sends a Obekpa into the post. He and Gardner going after each other. Green has been so hot. Tries to pass it down toward the baseline. Marquette basketball.
All right, good job by Blue recognizing they don't have the advantage break after a nice defensive sequence there.
Kadugan gets the ball screen. St. John's by 2. Trying to pull a major upset and keep a piece of the Big East Conference title away from Marquette. Blue, what a shot! 13-second difference between the game clock and the shot clock. They cannot hold for the final opportunity.
Marquette does not want to foul right here. You're going to play solid defense, knowing that St. John's has got to get aggressive again.
Sampson, too strong, missed everything. But the shot clock did not recycle because the ball didn't hit the rim. Does Green know it? Yes, he does. Obekpa tried to tip it. Still loose. And out of bounds to Marquette with 13 on the clock. Bodies everywhere.
I tell you what, the folks here at Madison Square Garden, they are not getting cheated, man. You are seeing some of the best effort. I didn't say best basketball, but certainly the best effort that I've seen in a long time by two teams that, you know, one wants to keep himself in a long shot position to get to the tournament. The other looking for that regular season claim, at least a part of it, regular season championship.
And a timeout.
Buzz is having fun.
Marquette with 7.4 seconds to go. I don't know that fun actually describes his emotions right now. But here's, let's take a look at that last basket for Vander Blue.
Well, there's the drive right here, and he just extends the arm in order to avoid Obekpa's attempt at the block. Look at this. Again, aggressive, and extends that arm and uses that glass. Gutsy play.
Well, I know I've asked you before what you'd like to see at the end of this game. I know the one thing you don't want to see, and that's Gardner at the high post as a passer.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need them in the high post. If you're going to spread the floor, I'd rather see them go 1-4. Have four guys across the baseline with a guy at the top. And if anybody comes to double, that's where you kick the ball. Or you allow the ball handler to beat him off the bounce. To have either Otule or Gardner at the top setting a high screen, the guy guarding them, they're going to disregard him, period, because they can't do anything. They'll go out and hedge, double, and if you kick it to Gardner or Otule, what are they going to do with the ball? If you're going to do anything, get a guy like Wilson. Jamil Wilson up at the top, he can be a high screen guy because he can do something with it if there's a step out, a hedge, and a double team.
Buzz Williams will send out Gardner and Lockett, as well as Jamil Wilson, Vander Blue, and Junior Cadogan.
Don't really have time to do a whole heck of a lot. 7.4 seconds. You get one chance to get the ball in bounds, one chance at a high screen, and you got to go. Let's see. Vander Blue can't wait.
They're on their feet at the Garden. Vander Blue.
There you go.
Got it at the buzzer. You don't think Marquette wanted this game? They will go to the monitor to make sure.
You see what I'm talking about? You didn't need the high screen per se, but you got it anyway. There's a double team, and you got to just go right at it.
Now they may look like a couple of tenths left.
Ball is out of his hands. 1.4 rolls around the rim. Nope. Ball goes through the basket. That's it. You watch the clock, double zeros coming through the basket right, well, 1/10 of a second, you can't get a real shot off. That's the way it appeared right there.
The basket counts, he went through the rim, throws on the clock, the game is over.
They reviewed it. They got it right. And Marquette will win its 23rd game of the year and share the Big East regular season title with the Georgetown Hoyas. What a game. Once again, the final score in overtime. Marquette 69-67. Coming up next on ESPN Missouri, Tennessee, we take you to Knoxville.
Welcome everyone to Thompson Bowling Arena here in Knoxville, Tennessee.